Hello, it's Clarity and welcome back to my YouTube account. I am so glad that you guys liked the last video that I put up and I got so much positive feedback from it, so that was so nice. Thank you so much. So I decided to make another video. I know it's only been like a couple of days, but it was super fun putting together the video and I got more footage. This is basically just me speed painting a original character that I designed called Adeline. She is for an Instagram project called FC Art Squad Collab, so you should definitely look up that hashtag on Instagram. There is some amazing art on there. So yeah, little disclaimer though, my cold is not gone away. If anything, my headache's better, but my throat is killing me, so hopefully I can get this done pretty quickly. But yeah, sorry if my voice still sounds weird. You will one day get a video with my non-croaky voice. But yeah, let's get started. The topic of this video is inspiration. Finding it, how people get inspiration for drawings, how I get inspiration for drawings, and just some tips that I hope can help you on your artistic journey when you just don't know what to draw. So inspiration, it's something that all artists want, but unfortunately right at the right moment, when we are sitting down and we have all the time in the world and we've got the perfect setting, we have no idea what to draw. And this is a really big problem because it sucks. No one likes having no inspiration. And I've got a couple of tips that I think will help you find your inspiration. I actually really don't have a problem with finding inspiration too much. My big problem is I have too many ideas and I don't have time to draw them all, which is also another big problem for another day. But I, like everyone, lose inspiration now and then, and people have varying problems with it. But here are just some tips that I hope can help you find your inspiration when you lose it. The first tip I would say is watch movies, play games, read books. I get so much inspiration from pop culture, especially video games with beautiful graphics. I've recently started playing Life is Strange and the art in it is gorgeous, and the colour palettes in it are just amazing. It's really inspired me to make some very nostalgic, beautiful art. So I love video games that evoke a certain feeling in you. I loved Until Dawn as well. I watched a playthrough of that and that was amazing. I actually did a redraw of that. And that's another thing that is really great. If you really love a movie or a video game or a TV show, pull it up on your computer or your iPad, take a screenshot of it, and then just redraw it. You can either color pick or just redraw it from visuals, but that is such a great way to stimulate your senses and get into a little bit of inspiration with color palettes and sorts of things. So yeah, I find pop culture is definitely a great source of inspiration. I used to draw a lot of fan art at the start of the year and at the end of last year a little bit. I draw mostly original art now, but I still do draw a little bit of fan art. So I find that's really inspiring to do and a lot of fun. Especially if you don't feel like coming up with your own characters or a really big scene, you can just pull up your favourite show, draw the characters, post it. Plus, who doesn't love fan art? Fan art's great. So that's something that is super inspiring. Another thing I find is photography and modelling accounts, like really aesthetic accounts where it's not really modelling, it's just beautiful scenarios, nature, but people among it. That is amazingly inspiring for me. I follow a couple of them and I love scrolling through and seeing a picture and I'm like, oh, I should draw something like that because that's so beautiful, and that's something that really inspires me. So yeah, I follow a handful of accounts like that, but if not, just look up like aesthetic on Instagram or anything. You'll see a lot of posts pop up. Another thing is pretty colour themes. I love colours. They're probably my biggest inspiration with drawings. As you can see, my drawings are normally pretty colourful and not always like bright neon colours. I do a lot of muted colours as well. I feel that colours are something that really evokes emotion. And the best part is, doesn't matter what you draw, colours are always going to be a part of it. Even if you only draw grayscale squares, you're still going to be evoking a certain emotion from colours. And if you draw people, the different clothes you put them in, the hair colours, their skin tone, it's all going to evoke a certain emotion. And doesn't matter what you draw, colours are always a really big part. And composition is another really big thing. But my favourite are colours because I'm terrible at composition. But yeah, that's something that really inspires me. So look up some colour palettes. There's Tumblr accounts for colour palettes. or just look up colors, do a color picking challenge. This is super fun when you just randomly pick 3 colors, either from markers, pencils, color drop on your palette, doesn't matter what, it's super fun to do. And that kind of leads me on to the next point. Challenges can be super fun, and it's a good way of trying something different and just having some fun. I find often artists put so much stress on themselves trying to create the perfect piece, when art's all about having fun and expressing yourself. So if you try a fun, silly challenge like the non-dominant hand challenge or 3 color challenge, you can find them on YouTube. Just look up art challenges, and they're super fun, and sometimes you can come out with a piece that's so weird and different, but you think, hey, I can work with this, I kind of like this. And I personally don't do a bunch of challenges, but I have done a couple, and they really help. They're super fun and silly. And another thing that really helps, I'm not sure about you, but I have a Tumblr and I love it, but there's accounts that they're normally 9 images, and I'm not sure what they're called, but they're mood boards. And mood boards are so inspiring, and they're just a collection of random pictures, random colors, quotes, and they can be made for a character or a certain feeling, and I love them so much. They're so inspiring, and I think that's an actual challenge where you take a mood board and you make it into a piece of art. And I don't know what the actual hashtag is or the challenge is, but it's really amazing, and they look great, and they're just so inspiring, and I love them so much. But yeah, I think people kind of overrate inspiration, because obviously there are going to be times where you are just feeling on the top of your game. You're going to feel so inspired, so with it, you're going to have so many ideas. And I feel that when I have a lot of those ideas, I either stick with one image and I try work it through the whole way. Like this image here, I did this in like one sitting pretty much, in about 2.5 hours. So I just worked through and pumped it out, which was really great that I managed to get all that done really fast. But on other occasions, I feel like making just a bunch of really quick sketches, and like I do a sketch and then I put a color layer underneath so I can just have an idea of the feeling I was going for, or I make a couple of notes to go with it. And then later, when I'm not feeling so inspired, I go back to one of those sketches and I try to finish it. And sometimes I feel that's like a really great way to make sure that you always have something to work on. Another thing with inspiration is sometimes I find this can work for some people. I've never done it because I've just not had a big project I've wanted to work on. But if you start a big project, it's actually really cool, because then you always have something to work on. Like if it's a comic, or if you're into animation, if you always have something to work on, you're never really gonna have a lack of inspiration, or at least a need to come up with ideas, because it's like, oh, I've got to draw the next page in that comic, or I've got to design some characters for that. And that can be really a good way of doing that. And on the other hand, also sometimes that can be quite intimidating. So sometimes for some people it works better to have just mini projects. But again, it's the type of artist you are. No one is exactly the same, and I guess that's what makes things so great, is everyone's got different personalities, and what works well with them, for what works so well for me or for someone else, could be completely the worst thing to do if you're a completely different type of artist. But yeah, these are just some ideas that I hope you like. So I've got a little bit left of the video, and those were my main points I'd like to make, but I'm just going to talk a little bit more about it. Inspiration is something that can come and go so quickly. It's quite a pedantic topic. So many people think that inspiration is the be-all and end-all of art, and that if you're not inspired, you can't create anything beautiful. And that's not true at all. References are your best friend. Sometimes you don't need to create something 100% real. I find when I'm bored, I look up just poses or a picture someone's done, and sometimes I just redraw it in my style. Like photography, like if you go, I find something that's really beautiful is old day photography, like the 1950s. That can be really beautiful. I've never actually posted any of these, but I've done a couple of practices. I might actually do a proper one and finish it and post it. But like 1950s beauty photography, I find they're so pretty and light, and sometimes I just redraw them, and I don't think too hard, because I'm just working on a little bit on anatomy or colouring and shading, and I can have something really pretty at the end. And I wasn't inspired, I just drew. And I feel sometimes people feel such a stress to create everything so original and game changing, and it's like nothing is ever truly original. Everyone gets inspiration from somewhere. Great artists took live drawings, like paintings from 200 years ago. They had people sit there and pose for them. The Mona Lisa, I'm not 100% sure if you had a model, but I'm pretty sure they did. And you just paint that. Nothing is, you'd have to be, okay, you'd have to just be in a locked box your entire life to never find any inspiration, like just a white room, and even then you'd be inspired by your surroundings, white boxes. And I feel that so many people put so much stress on being completely original, and while it's good to make something different and try new things, it's also a little bit comforting to find things that people can relate to. My favourite pieces of art are art that I get a bit of nostalgia from, like pictures of people like drinking warm drinks and just being cozy, or different things that I really love. I feel that's something that really makes me feel happy, and they're my favourite pieces of art. Art that's not just pretty, but art that's in a way relatable or beautiful, that it's relatable in a way that you're able to sympathize with the art in a way, and you feel that you know what the art's talking about, or the artist is like you in a way. And I feel that's a really good way of creating art if you have a certain feeling in mind. But of course it's fun just to create art that looks beautiful, and I love creating just pretty art that's not really deep and meaningful or has a deeper meaning. It's just there because it's aesthetically pleasing. And yeah, I feel so many people just need to sometimes do some little practices or try different things. Not everything you create has to be a masterpiece, and sometimes it's okay to have a piece that turns out uninspired and boring and ugly or whatever, because I mean, we all do. We all have something that comes out not how we wanted it to come out. It's not at all the idea we had in our mind, and it's not something that we were really going for, but it happened, and you know, that's okay. I see people complain and they say, oh, everyone's art on Instagram, people post it, it's so beautiful and perfect, they never make mistakes. I know for a fact I do not post the works that I create that turn out ugly, and those really big artists, they wouldn't either. So just remember that you see your art at its worst and at its best, so you're going to have a completely different idea of what you think your art is compared to what other people think your art is. They only see the good points of your art. You see all the ugly hands, undrawn second eyes, and bad line art. So don't take it too bad if you're feeling uninspired, and go out, look at the sky, look how pretty it is, draw something inspired by the sky, or stay in your room all day and draw your favorite anime characters. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye!